Hey, what's going on guys? Tanmaya for Simple Snippets, and I'm back with another video tutorial on Quantitative Aptitude. So in this video tutorial, we'll be solving numericals on the topic of partnership. So in the previous couple of video tutorials, we saw some aptitude problems on simple interest, compound interest, time, distance, speed, train problems, and many other topics which we have covered in this entire aptitude series. So if you are new on this channel, consider subscribing because you'll get notified when I upload the next video based on some other topic in Quantitative Aptitude. Also, if you have missed those videos, I'll put a link in the description of this video to those videos, and you can also see some cards which will redirect you to those videos. So with that being said, let's get started. So before we actually get to the problem solving, let's read out certain concepts on partnership and what exactly partnership is and how it works. So there are certain key points that you need to remember, and you can also note them down. You can see them on the screen right now. Okay, so let me just read out the point number 1. So when two or more than two people run a business jointly, they are called partners, and the deal is known as partnership. So this is in terms of business and commerce oriented concept, wherein two or more than two people come together and they invest in a business and they start off together. So in that case, if they are running together a business, there must be some profit, right? So how do we divide those profits? So let's read out point number A. When investments of all partners are for the same time, the gain or loss is distributed among the partners in the ratio of their investment. So what this means is, suppose there are two people A and B and they invest X rupees or Y rupees. Now this rupees can be dollars or any other currency depending on from where you're watching this video. Say for example, if A is investing X rupees and B is investing Y rupees, and they are investing it for equal amount of time, that is for a year, then at the end of the year, the profit that they are going to get from their business is going to be shared in the same ratio as that of their investment. So A's share of profit to B's share of profit is equal to X is to Y. Now this is to sign is another notation for A by B, which is going to be X upon Y. So we can represent this as A is to B, which is equal to X is to Y. So just another way to show the ratios. Now what if they invest money but for different periods? So let's move on to point number B. So when investments are for different time periods, then the equivalent capital are calculated for a unit of time by taking capital X number of units of time. So this sentence might sound a little complicated, but directly let's move to the actual representation. So suppose A invests rupees X for P months and B invests rupees Y for Q months, then A's share of profit to B's share of profit is going to be X into P, that is the amount invested by A, which is rupees X, into the time duration for which that money is invested, which is P. So you can see XP, to the amount invested by B, which is Y rupees, into the time for which it is invested, which is Q. So A upon B is going to be X into P divided by Y into Q. So this is how the profit is going to be shared between the two, and this is just for two people. This can be for 3 or 4 people or 4 partners respectively. So if there are 3 partners, then it would be X is to Y is to Z. If there are 4, then there is one more value over here in the ratio. And lastly, there is one concept which is known as working and sleeping partners. So a partner who is actually managing the business is known as working partner, and the one who simply invests the money is known as sleeping partner. So this is just a commerce oriented concept which might be asked in certain questions. So you need to know what a working and a sleeping partner is, because sometimes working partners demand extra profit out of the total earnings. So these are some basic concepts that you need to know about partnership, and let's move on to the actual questions part now. Okay, so let's start with our first question, and let me just read out the question. A and B invest in a business in the ratio of 3:2. If 5% of the total profit goes to charity and A's share is $855, the total profit is. Okay, so just by reading the question, we know there are two people A and B, and they are investing in the business in the ratio of 3:2. And what they are saying is, out of the total profit, they are donating 5% of the profit to charity. And then what is the remaining profit? From that, A's share is $855. So what is the total profit? Okay, so let us first note down what all we have. Now we know that the total share is going to be of 5 parts. Now when we have a ratio which is given, which is 3:2, it essentially means that 3 parts will be going to A and 2 parts of the profit will be going to B. So this is what this ratio is actually telling us. So in all, we have 3 plus 2, which is 5 parts. So if suppose the profit was 500 rupees, 3 parts would be 300 rupees, which would go to A, and the second part which should be 200, that would go to B. So this is how logically 3:2 means, or this is how they are telling us what ratio is. So what we can do is we can make certain assumptions. Now we actually don't know the profit, right? So what we can do is we'll say let profit be $100. Since in this case we have given dollars, now it can be rupees or any other currency which doesn't matter much. So let's say let the profit is $100. Now we know the 5% of the total profit goes to charity. So 5% of 100 is equal to 5 by 100 into 100, which is equal to 5. So $5 is being donated to charity. So the actual profit is going to be 95. Now this 95 is going to be shared between A and B in the ratio of 3:2. So this is what is given to us. So A's share is going to be 3 out of 5 into 95 because A wants 3/5 of 95. So this is how we represent it mathematically. So when you actually solve this, this would give you $57. So we got A's share of profit, which is equal to $57. But this is not our answer because we have assumed the profit to be 100 rupees. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we'll say if A's share is $57, the total profit is 100 rupees. So when we are assuming the total profit as 100 rupees, at that time A's share is going to be 57. So when A's share is going to be $855, which is actually what he is getting, what is going to be the total profit? So this we can assume as X, and now we can simply cross multiply these values to actually get the value. So 57 into X is equal to 855 into 100. So X is equal to 855 into 100 the whole upon 57. So when you actually solve this, the final answer of X is going to be 1500. So option B is going to be our final answer. So this is how we solve a problem when we do not have any values. We make certain assumptions, then we calculate the share, and then we can use the cross multiplication rule to find out the left out value. Because we have 3 values in this case, we just need to find out the 4th value. So by applying the concept of cross multiplication, we can easily get that value. Okay, so let's move on to question number 2 now. Okay, so let me just read out the question. A, B and C jointly thought of engaging themselves in a business venture. It was agreed that A would invest rupees or $6,500 for 6 months, B would invest $8,400 for 5 months, and C would invest $10,000 for 3 months. Now A wants to be the working member for which he wants to receive 5% of the profit. The profit earned was $7,400. Calculate the share of B in profit. Okay, so this sounds like a very big question, but there is a lot of data given to us. Let us first jot down what all data we have. We know that there are 3 people, A, B, C. Now they have agreed to start a business venture, and A would invest $6,500 for 6 months, B would invest $8,400 for 5 months, and C is going to invest $10,000 for 3 months. So this is the data we have, and we also know that A wants 5% profit extra out of the total profit because he is wanting to be the working member who is going to manage the entire business, and we know the total profit is 7,400. So just write down total profit is 7,400. Okay, so in this question we can see that A, B, C are investing different amounts, but they are also investing it for different time duration, and we saw a formula wherein when the time duration is different, we take a multiplication of these two and these two and these two, that is the amount invested and the time for a particular individual, and then take the ratio. So this ratio is what the profit is going to be shared among A, B and C. So it is going to be 6,500 into 6 is to 8,400 into 5 is to 10,000 into 3. So this is how the profit is also going to be shared. But we have a certain clause over here that before even the profit is being shared, A is wanting 5% out of the total profit. So first we need to calculate the actual profit. So 5% of 7,400 is equal to $370. So we need to subtract this, and the actual profit which is going to be shared is going to be 7030. So this $370 is already taken by A as he is going to be the member that is going to be managing all the activities of the business. So he wants 5% extra. So the actual profit which is then later on going to be shared between A, B and C is 7030. So now we can actually go ahead and find out ratio of profit sharing between the three is equal to 6,500, which is going to A is to B is to C, which is equal to 6,500 into 6 is to 8,400 into 5 is to 10,000 into 3. So this ratio is going to come to 39,000 is to 42,000 is to 30,000. Now for simplicity purpose, let's reduce this, and we know the common number to divide this is going to be 3. So first cancelling out the zeros. Now we know 3 is going to divide all of them. So 3 13s are 39. So 13 is to 3 into 14 is 42 is to 14 is to, and 3 into 10 is 30. So this is going to be 10. So this is the ratio in which the money is going to be divided, and this is the actual profit. So now what they're asking is the profit or the share of B in profit is. So for B, we know this is the part that he's going to get. So B's share is equal to 14 upon, and the total share is going to be the addition of these three. So 13 plus 14 plus 10 is going to give 37. So out of 37 parts, 14 parts are to be given to B, and this is going to be calculated on the total profit of 7030. So the final answer is going to be $2660. So option B is going to be our final answer. Okay, so quick recap of this problem. This problem is based on 3 members investing in a company, but they are investing for different amount of time. So we have written those times and their amount to be invested. So the profit is going to be shared in the ratio which says that the investment into the time has to be taken. So this is the formula. So 6,500 into 6 months is to 8,400 into 5 months is to 10,000 into 3. But they're saying that 5% profit is extra demanded by A because he is the working member. So out of the total profit that they have given, we first calculate 5%, which is 370. So we subtract that from the actual from the profit to get the actual profit, which is actually going to be shared between the 3 people. So 7030 is what we got. Then we use that formula to get their ratios in which the money is going to be divided. We got 13 is to 14 is to 10. So which means there are total 37 parts. When we add these up, we get 37. So there are 37 parts which can be divided into 13 into 14 into 10, and the 14 parts out of 37 is to be divided for this number, which is the actual profit. So 14 by 37 into 7030, which we calculate and get the answer of 2660. Okay, so let's move on to question number 3 now. Okay, so let me just read out the problem. A, B and C enter into a partnership in the ratio 7/2 is to 4/3 is to 6/5. After 4 months, A increases his share 50%. If the total profit at the end of 1 year is rupees 21,600, then B's share in the profit is. Okay, so again, we have 3 people who are entering into a partnership in a certain ratio, which is 7:4 is to 7/2 is to 4/3 is to 6/5. But there is a catch over here that after 4 months, A increases his share 50%, which means that this ratio is going to change after 4 months. So for 4 months it is going to be 7/2, but after 4 months we need to calculate his new share, which is going to be 50% more. So if the total profit at the end of 1 year is rupees 21,600, then what is B's share in the profit? Okay, so let's move on with the solution. So let's first write down the ratio of initial investment, which is equal to 7/2 is to 4/3 is to 6/5. So what we can do is we can multiply it by 30, which is common least multiple. So we can convert this fraction into actual whole numbers, which would be easy to deal with in terms of calculation. So this would, if I multiply all these values with 30, we would get 105 is to 40 is to 36. So this is again in the same ratio, just that we have multiplied it with a common number, which is 30. Now we can say that let the initial investment, which we actually don't know, that is we don't know the actual value being invested by A, B and C. So we'll say let initial investment by A, B and C be 105x, 40x and 36x. So what exactly is this x? So this x is a common number because we need to keep the ratios same, right? So when we are taking this ratio, that is 105 is to 40, the x will get cancelled and the ratio will remain the same. So that is the reason why we are assuming the initial investment by A, B and C be 105x, 40x and 36x, because 105 is not the actual amount, but this is just the ratio. So it will be multiplied with a certain common multiplier which would give us the actual investment, and this x is going to be common throughout the 3 people, because then that factor can be cancelled and then we again get back this ratio. So that is the reason why we have x common. So this is the investment amount. So the profit to be shared between them is also going to be this investment amount into the time invested. So time here is 12 months because they are saying at the end of 1 year. So 105x into 12 is to 40x into 12 is to 36x into 12. So this is going to be true, but in this case we have a little bit of catch over here, because we can see that after 4 months A has increased his share, which means that he is not consistently investing 105x for 12 years. So the updated investment ratio is going to be A is to B is to C, which is equal to 105x into 4 months, because for 4 months he has invested 105 into x amount, plus now since the share has increased by 50%, so 50% of 105x has to be calculated. So 50% increase is 150 upon 100 times of 105x into the time duration now is going to be 8, because out of 12 months, for 4 months it is 105x, so 12 minus 4, which is 8. For 8 months, this amount, which is the new one, is being invested. So this is for A. For B it is going to be the same, which is 40x into 12, and for C it is going to be 36x into 12. So this is how the equation or the ratios should look like, and the only reason why we had to take the time into consideration is because there is a difference in investment amount for A. Otherwise we know that for all of the 3 people, the profit is calculated at after 12 months. So we didn't have to actually include this 12 because they should have got cancelled out. But since A is increasing his investment after 4 months, we have to take that into consideration. Now when we open up this bracket and solve this and try to reduce this, we should be getting 1680x is to 480x is to 432x. So now when we reduce this, we can cancel out the x values and we'll get the actual ratios of 35 is to 10 is to 9. So the reason why we got new values is because A had changed his initial investment and increased it to 50%. So we did not calculate that. We only knew the initial investment ratios, which was 105 is to 40 is to 36. But now we have got a new ratio because A had increased his share. So this is the ratio in which the profit is going to be divided. Now we already know that the profit is rupees 21,600. So profit is equal to, you can see in the question, is 21,600. So out of this, B's share is going to be 10 parts and the total parts is going to be 35 plus 10 plus 9. So B's share is equal to 10 parts out of total 35 plus 10 plus 9, which is 54 parts, into the total profit, which is 21,600. So ultimately B's share is going to be 4,000. So in the options you can see that option D is our final answer. Okay, so this was question number 3, wherein we had the initial investment ratios for 4 months, but after 4 months A had increased his share. That is the reason why we had to calculate the new ratios, and when we got the new investment ratios, the same ratio is going to be applied for the profit sharing, and we had to calculate the profit for person B, and the center value is going to be for person B, and you can see the ratio is 35 is to 10 is to 9. So total parts were 54, and out of that 10 parts was supposed to be B's profit, and the total profit was 21,600. So we could easily calculate the profit which was being given to B. Okay, so let's move on to question number 4 now. So let me just read out the question. A, B, C subscribe rupees 50,000 for a business. So we know the total amount of investment, which is 50,000. A subscribes 4,000 more than B, and B subscribes 5,000 more than C. So out of the total profit of rupees 35,000, A receives, which means A's profit is. Okay, so let us first actually note down what all things we have. We know the total investment is directly given, which is rupees 50,000. We know the total profit, which is rupees 35,000, and what we need to find out is A's share. Now we do not have the direct ratios, but we know there is some relation between their investments, which means that when A has subscribed 4,000 more than B and B has subscribed more 5,000 than C, but we do not know how much C has invested. So let's start with the assumptions. So I'll say solution. We'll say let C invest X rupees. We know that B has invested 5,000 more than C. So we know B is equal to X plus 5,000, which is again in rupees, and A has invested 4,000 more than B. So it would be X plus 5,000, which is B plus 4,000. So A's investment is X plus 9,000. So mathematically we have got what C has invested, what B has invested, and what A has invested. Now we also know what the total investment is, which is 50,000. So what we can do is A plus B plus C is equal to 50,000. So X, which is what C has invested, plus X plus 5,000, which is what B has invested, and A's value is X plus 9,000, which is what A has invested, will give us a total of 50,000. So now we can find the value of X. So when we actually simplify this, we will get X is equal to 12,000. So which means C has invested 12,000 rupees, because we had assumed X as C's investment. So 12,000 plus 5,000 will give us B's investment, which is 17,000, and then plus 9,000 will give us A's investment, which is 21,000. So now we have got the individual investment values. So the profit sharing would be in the same ratio. So A's investment is to B's investment is to C's investment is equal to 21,000 is to the B's value is 17,000 is to 12,000. So the profit sharing is also going to be in the same ratio. So we can reduce this by just cancelling out the zeros. So A is to B is to C is going to be 21 is to 17 is to 12. So we want to find out A's profit. So A's share is equal to 21 upon the total parts is 21 plus 17 plus 12, which is 50, into the profit. And we know the total profit is 35,000. So into 35,000. So the final answer is 14,700. So in options you can see option D is going to be our final answer. Okay, so let's move on to the last question of this problems on partnership video tutorial. So let me just read out the question. A and B started a partnership business investing some amount in the ratio of 3:5. C joined them after 6 months with an amount equal to that of B. So in what proportion should the profit at the end of 1 year be distributed among A, B and C? So in this question we have 3 investors. However, first 2, that is A and B, start a partnership at the same time at the ratio of 3:5. And after 6 months, C has joined in with the same amount which is being invested by B. So what they are asking is, in what proportion should the profit at the end of the year be distributed between all of the 3? So we are asked the ratio and not the actual amount. So let's try to solve this. Since we do not have any direct values, we'll say let initial investment of A and B be 3x and 5x. So after 6 months, C's investment will also be equal to 5x, because we know that C invests the same amount of money as B. So now what we can do is the ratio of share of investment between A is to B is to C is equal to A's share into 12 months is to B's share into 12 months is to C's share into 6 months. So I hope you got this ratio and how I got to this point, because we know A's share is 5x, which is being invested for 12 months, because A and B are going to invest it for 1 year, but C, who invested the same amount of B, but he came in after 6 months, which is after half of the year has passed. So his time has to be taken into consideration, and that is the reason why we have to include time in this case, because one of the partner has invested for some different amount of time. So when the time is different, we have to calculate that as well. So what we get is A is to B is to C is equal to, we know A's share is 3x, which we just assumed over here. 3x into 12 is the time duration in months, so we are assuming it in months, is to 5x, which is B's share, into 12 is to 5x, which is the amount invested by C, which is 5x, but this is duration is 6 months. So this is the only difference. Now if we divide this entire ratio by 6, we can see that this is going to get cancelled. 6 1 the 6 2 za, 6 1 the 6 2 za. So ultimately we will be remaining with 6x is to 10x is to 5x. Now again we can cancel out this x because it is in ratio. So the final ratio in which the profit is going to be divided is 6 is to 10 is to 5. So in the options you can see option C is going to be our final answer. So this was about question number 5, and I hope you know why we took x as the initial investment, because we did not know the actual value, but we know the proportion in which the value is invested. So we had to take x common, because when we take common factor in the investments, it can get cancelled out and then the ratio remains the same. And also the formula in this case considers time, because even though A and B are investing for equal amount of time, C has not invested for equal amount of time. And we know when any of the partner does not invest in equal amount of time, the formula for that ratio changes and the formula becomes the investment into time. Okay, so that's it for this video guys. I hope you understood the problems on partnership and what is partnership and some basic concepts as well as some important formulas for partnership. Now if you have any comments or queries, make sure you put them in the comment section below and let me know how this video was, and if you have any new requests for more videos or more numericals based on some different quantitative aptitude problems, then let me know in the comments as well. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up and don't forget to share this video with your friends, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video tutorial. Peace.